Alright guys, we already went through the main parts of the bike on the spotlight, but now it's time to dig a little bit deeper and, well, check this out. Now, we're going to start off up here on the front end, because one of the greatest things about this new fatbob was that inverted front fork system, okay? You've got a Showa style front end, okay, with a true inverted front fork, which is going to really add a lot of ride to your journey. I mean, it's just become so much more of a flickable machine. You've got a beefy 150 front end on it, okay, a 150/16, which is right in line with what the original fatbob was. One of the big pieces behind that bike was how beefy and meaty it looks. And with this one, the front end has still got that beefy feel to it, but it handles unbelievably. Now, on the original fatbob, you had those dual headlights up there, and on this one, you've got this wild thing. And man, look, you can't even see me over here now because of how much light that thing throws out. Absolutely impressive as far as being able to put the light to the road, if you know what I'm talking about. Now, I'd be seriously amiss if I went through all that time with the front end and not bring into consideration the rear end of the motorcycle, okay? Now, you've got the 180 for the rear tire back here, so it's a little bit beefier than the 150 up front, but not quite the 200 or the 240, because with this bike, it's all about handling, okay? Now, with the rear suspension, what they've done is this is one of the bikes that gives you the preload and the recoil adjusting and dampening back here, okay? And what you can do here is actually adjust the stiffness of the machine. So if you're running a passenger, you can soften it up for their comfort. But if you're out there rolling this bike around like it should be, then you're gonna want to tighten that puppy up and have it so tuned. Okay, and with the new soft tail style framework that you have on this machine, they used to have like a dual shock up underneath of it, and the way that the travel was a little bit different. But now what they've done, instead of that dual system up underneath, it's almost like the whole frame has been inverted, and you've got a single mono shock up underneath the saddle now. And man, the improvement in the ride quality is insane. Now you throw that in with a nice set of 2-in-1 upswept exhaust here, and that way you can really lean it down there without trying to rip your exhaust off. It really does help when you're out there straightening up the turns. Now, this new 107 motor that's featured on this machine, and this was the first year of this motor on a soft tail frame, by the way, okay, is the new Milwaukee 8, okay? Now, they call it the Milwaukee 8 for two reasons, okay? One of which is it's the actual 8th generation of V-twin Harley Davidson, okay? So Milwaukee 8, 8th generation. But the main reason is because of the 8 valves, okay? You've got 4 valves per head and 2 spark plugs per head. Now, last but certainly not least, riding position. Handlebars setup, okay? This is an aggressive riding machine, okay? This bike throws around through the turns really well, and it's a lot of fun to ride, but it's easy to dial in, okay? You've got a nice little window gauge right here and some hash marks on the handlebars to be able to make sure that you're going to get it fitting exactly where you want it to go, okay? The ignition, no key, no nothing. You walk up and you just flip the switch, and she's all ready to go for you. Hit your starter button, and brother, you're on down the road. It's just that easy to be able to go out and throw this beautiful low mile high powered motorcycle around. And of course, digital gauge, you've got a full gas gauge right here, only a single tank instead of the dummy that was over on the other ones. Some of the newer Harley Softails still have that dummy on it, but with this one, it's not about flash and frills, it's about ride, all about the ride, even right down to the controls. The Dyna traditionally came with a mid-mount control. The fatbob did have forward controls on it, but the forward controls on a Dyna family sat about 1.5 inches further out than they did on any other motorcycle. This one, they went ahead and they brought them a little bit closer back, so you can still get an aggressive control over the machine, because if you've got your pegs too far out, you actually lose a little bit of control of the motorcycle. Little known fact.